sipping codeine for breakfast.
What's going on, y'all? HipHopNow TV and Talk of the Land here. I am the promotion director.
And it's your boy Rick the Ruler. We here with HipHopNow TV, and we got a special guest. As usual, we always try to bring the young to the new to the old, vice versa. So we just gonna get straight into it. Who we got today?
You calling old, bro? Damn, dog. Old.
I mean, don't disrespect the dude like that. You know what I'm
I ain't
saying?
old. Y'all look young. I'm young, man.
He's still young, bro.
I didn't mean it like that. I'm saying like the old generation, new generation, mid generation. We all got to get together and get informed.
Just say the experience.
Yes, sir.
You know what?
Just say I'm experienced.
Yes.
We bringing the experience to you guys right now.
Yep. Former NBA star Al Harrington. What's going on with you, boss?
What's going on, fellas? Y'all good?
You're doing good, boss.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Nah, thanks for having us. For real. Beautiful new spot, bro.
Thanks, my guys. Thanks.
Most definitely. So I really want to get straight into this interview, man. I want to start off on the beginning of your career. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Orange, New Jersey.
Orange, New Jersey. Okay. Yes, born and raised.
Born and raised. I moved to Roselle, New Jersey, my freshman year in high school.
Okay.
So I went to Roselle my freshman year, and then went to St. Pat's.
Got you.
Basketball powerhouse in Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Right. And who got you into basketball? Playing basketball?
So obviously, growing up in the hood, everybody want to hoop. So
Right.
I would just say the environment, being outside, made you want to play ball. For me, ball wasn't something that I was good at early. You know what I'm saying? To be honest, I was a late developer. I was overweight, clumsy, uncoordinated, all of that, all of the above. So I always thought football was gonna be my thing because you didn't feel like you had to be that coordinator. You just had to run into people and knock them down.
Was that your first? Was that your first sport? Your first
that was
love?
my first sport, first love. I still love football more than I love basketball, believe it or not. Even though I played the sport. I've always just been a huge fan of just football. I love it. You know what I'm saying? And I played it up until my freshman year in high school. Okay. And then I decided to go full basketball when I went to St. Pat's because they didn't have two sports. They only had basketball.
So who kind of forced you into that direction to say, hey, go play basketball? You know what I'm saying?
So I would say, man, like I said, coming up, like my mom used to hoop too. So I used to play her one-on-one all the time, like as a kid. I could never beat her. Like I couldn't beat my mother until I got into high school. It was embarrassing.
Wow.
I always lose to my mom playing one-on-one. Obviously couldn't beat nobody in the park, but when I went to Roselle, I had a growth spurt. So when I graduated as an 8th grader, I was like 5'10". But by the end of the summer, when I moved to Roselle, New Jersey, I was 6'4". So when I got to the school, everybody just thought I was a hooper, right? See this tall, 14, 15-year-old, 6'4", you think he played. But obviously they quickly realized I wasn't a hooper. So I played football. Football is always first. Basketball is the second half of the school year. And the JV coach, his name's Coach Shaw. I give him a lot of credit. I wanted to focus on football because I wanted to play varsity the next year. I played my first year freshman in JV. I was like, I gotta start varsity. So I wanted to focus on that. And he was just like, nah, you playing basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's like, I want you to play ball. He said it'll help develop you, get you more coordinated, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I started hooping, and believe it or not, I was still terrible. Freshman year, I was probably the worst player on the team, 15 players. I maybe started 1 or 2 games. We went undefeated that year, but it wasn't because of me. I probably averaged 2 points. And at the end of that year, this AAU coach came to watch us play. And he was trying to recruit this kid named Kurt Hobson on my team. Kurt was our best player, Kurt and Karan Godwin. So I'm sitting on the edge of the bench, not playing, obviously. And he just tapped me. He's sitting to me, tapped me. He like, yo, you ever thought about playing summer ball? And I was like, what summer ball? He's like, AAU. I'm like, what's AAU? He like, it's the summer, we travel around a little bit. He was like, you should play. But he was like, why don't you help me get Kurt to come play with us too? You know what I'm saying? So you're trying to use me to get to Kurt, for Kurt to play. Gotcha. So I started talking to Kurt, like, Kurt, you want to play with these dudes? Kurt was like, yeah, no, back and forth. And long story short, the coach still kind of took a liking to me. You know what I'm saying? He was like, yo, just come anyway. Come to the practices.
Right.
Or whatever. So I would go to the practices, and, you know, I would say I guess I developed to the point where, you know, Coach Boyle and Coach Hurley, which is St. Pat's and St. Anthony's, both coaches were kind of looking at me and saying, who's this 6'4" kid that's kind of guy that's raw, but he got some, you know, he got some tools, you know, so they both kind of offered me an opportunity to go to those high schools.
Right.
Honestly, I would have went to St. Anthony's just because they had more of the winning tradition at the time, you know what I'm saying? But being from Roselle, it was damn near impossible for me to get to school. I was going to take like 3 buses to get to school compared to going to St. Pat's. I only had to take 2.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I literally chose St. Pat's, honestly, just because of like the logistics of how the fuck would I get to school every day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, you know, went there, and obviously the rest is history. I played with Shiny Holloway.
Right,
Coach
okay.
from St. Peter's this year.
Right.
He was the man. He was the person that pretty much put St. Pat's on the map. Played with him the senior year, and I was a sophomore. I couldn't catch. I wasn't a good finisher, so there'd be a lot of times he'd be cussing me out during the game for missing his low-look passes and all that.
Yeah.
But I never got discouraged, you know what I'm saying? I just kept at it, kept working. My AAU coach, I brought him up because he was the one that really put me under his wing.
Right.
He started working with me like tirelessly,
Was he your role model? Was he
I
like a role model to
I would say
you?
he's a role model, man. My mom is my role model.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, seeing a single black woman take care
You heard
of
what he said earlier. He definitely said his mother was beating him in basketball.
Much respect to the mothers out there, man. You know what I'm saying?
Especially the moms that can hoop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so he just, like, honestly, man, he taught me, like, it's funny when I think about, like, the way he taught me the game, and I think about the way kids play now, is like, it's crazy. Like,
totally different.
I was able to just, like, be so creative within my game, and the way he did it was this. So I would do like these 4 little drills when we first came in, like a fingertip dribble drill, a dribble like where I showed you dribble back and did like to turn and go the other direction, which was like teaching you how to do a spin move. But when you were doing it, it didn't make sense, right? It just seemed so crazy. But then what he would do is, after I would do all the workouts, it was a Jewish Y. So it'd be mad little kids there, right? Or like maybe about to be in high school, whatever, but they all played. You know, the little Jewish kids, they love the basketball. Yeah. So what he would do is, he would make me play them like 1 against 4, 1 against 5, and we play full court.
Oh, wow.
So like I'm playing against 5 of them, trying to guard them all, get the rebound, dribbling down the court, they all double teaming me. But that's why I realized that next thing you know, when I got in the game, I could throw the ball between my legs.
Yeah.
Because I was doing all that shit playing against them kids. It was just like, everything was just reaction. Oh, to my leg. Oh, behind my back. Oh, this. Oh, that. You know what I'm saying?
You had to figure out a way to get around it.
Into the game, and all that shit was right there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's funny, like when I was doing it with them, it didn't make sense. Like, why am I playing these little fucking kids every day? But it was teaching me the instincts of the game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I was always a big man that could handle the ball. It was a lot because of what he taught me. And like I said, so after my sophomore year, we got in the gym that summer. ABCD camps, All-American Adidas camp at the time.
Yep.
They had a couple guys that was always happens, guys miss flights, whatever, can't get there. So they called my coach and was like, we got a couple empty spots. You got any of your guys that want to come in? So he brought me up there. I got in. Chauncey Billups was my counselor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And Nakdar Njani, the big center that played at North Carolina. So those are my 2 counselors. And I went there and I actually played pretty good, bro, to the point where I made the All-American, the All-Star game. Yeah. And at that point was when I started to get a little bit of a reputation, like Al Harrington, whatever, nothing crazy. And then for me, my junior year, how I got my rep was I bust Lamar Odom's ass in a game in South Jersey.
Yeah, okay.
And, you know, Lamar was obviously the biggest guy.
Right. Competition picked up.
And I got the best of him.
For
you know what I'm saying? And at that point, when I started being recognized as like a hooper, a real hooper. Right. And then obviously I just, I guess we can keep going into more of the details of the stories, but like that's when I just really started to take off. I got the confidence. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's all confidence.
So you basically you was becoming a top prospect after basically facing Lamar Odom. And
after the Adidas camp, kind of got a little bit of a name. Yeah. Just, Al Harrington's at St. Pat's kind of thing. Sure. And then I caught Lamar at this tournament.
At that moment.
And at that moment, I became like, okay, this
it was either now or never.
Yeah. Like, you're nothing to be messed with. You know what I'm saying? Let's not take this lightly.
And it's funny, like, because like, and I always say, like, you gotta be, everything's visual, right? And sometimes like you gotta see it to believe it. Like that's why I always say like the reason why these kids now are doing like, you know, jumping up and throwing between their legs 2 times and dunking it is because they've seen it.
Right.
So it's possible.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So like that's why I always say like YouTube is really, I feel like YouTube is the reason why the game expands is because it gives these kids all this creativity. So I'm saying that to say like obviously I didn't have YouTube, but what I did have was these tournaments that instead of me just showing up for my game, I would go early. So I watched Kobe play. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, let me see how good Kobe is. And Kobe out there playing with 4 white boys that's all 6 foot, and he's still winning games because he's out there, he's just like dominating. Right. And then I looked at the guys from my class, and when I saw those guys, I was like, and I was at George Washington University in DC is when I realized, like, when I said to myself, it was like my defining moment where I was just like, yo, fuck that, yo, you just as good as them niggas. You know what I'm saying? And I was at a tournament, it was like Shane Battier, Kobe was there, it was like guys from my class, like Jerron Rush, Coleon Young, all these different guys there, and I'm just watching them play, and I'm literally looking like, yo, they not doing nothing I can't do. Like I do all this against the little Jewish dude.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, bro, like come on, dog, you could do this. And like at that point, bro, I swear for me, I was like, I'm gonna find a way to be the best player in the country. You know what I'm saying? I know I only got 2 years, I got a lot of making up to do, but you know what I'm saying? Once I made that decision, I lived in the gym, you know what I'm saying? Like going into my senior year or that summer before I went to Nike camp where I actually ended up propelling to being the #1 player of the year, for 3 weeks straight, I made 2,000 jumpers a day. And any hooper that shoot know, like to make 2,000 jumpers, that's like a 4 or 5 hour thing. That's not like an hour workout. It's not a 2 hour workout. It's not a 3 hour workout. That's like close to a 5 hour workout.
You have to be devoted to that for sure.
You know what I'm saying? And I did that shit every day for 3 straight weeks going before I went to Nike camp. You know what I'm saying? So when you put in that type of work, bro, like how can you not be confident? You know what I'm saying? Like how can you not have the ultimate confidence in yourself when you just actually saw it? You saw the work. You put the work in. You know what I'm saying? So that shit just gave me all the energy and all the confidence I needed. And you know, I went to that camp and I ended up walking out the camp the #1 player in the country.
That's what's
like
up.
In like a really 18-month span too, to be honest. It wasn't like it was like quick
turn, real quick.
Quick turn.
Most definitely. So who was your idol growing up? As far as, I know that you said that you was more focused on like football and stuff like that, but like who was one of that?
So on the football side, it was Lawrence Taylor.
Okay.
Because I was a Giants fan, so just his tenacity and
LT.
Just he was just a violent motherfucker.
Yeah, LT.
You know what I'm saying? So like, and then my cousin Roy Simmons, he played with LT too. So I actually, as a kid, a couple times was able to run into him. You know what I'm saying? And just see like that motherfucker was a dog, bro. Like for real live dog.
I heard a lot of stories about LT.
Yeah, so seeing him, that's why I wanted to be next Lawrence Taylor. And then on the basketball side, I think, you know, everybody like Michael Jordan for real.
Oh, of
like,
course.
There's no way. Like even if you against your team, we was forced to like Michael. You know what I'm saying? So I would say Michael on the basketball side, but then also like the Knicks players. You know what I'm saying? Like the grind and grit of like, you know, God bless the dead Anthony Mason and Oakley and Pat Ewing, you know what I'm saying? Like they made you want to like play hard, play tough, defend. You understand what I'm saying? Try to lock niggas down, you know what I'm saying? So I would say like that era of basketball, the Knicks era, Michael Jordan swag, and then Lawrence Taylor's like grit, like intensity is kind of what I would say like
basically before the rules was changed to, as you know, they say soft now, as if you want to say that.
Yeah, it's just more like, we don't call it soft, it's just freedom of motion. The game is more free flowing.
No more that hand checking and all of that.
As they say, it's just free flowing. I couldn't imagine the game still being played that physically. You know what I'm saying?
It was very physical. It was very physical.
Different.
It was very physical.
It was different.
Super physical, boy.
So I definitely can understand.
But those are the guys that like. But that's the era that raised me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And so like coming up and and being an athlete and stuff and being recognized, was these players reaching out to you too? You know how certain professional athletes try to give advice to the younger generation.
Yeah,
so
there was no way.
Right.
Remember, it was the 90s, right?
Right,
so
exactly.
Late 90s, it wasn't no outlets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we had AOL had just popped off in like 97 or whatever, like to the point where we decided to get emails.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So there was no way to reach out. There was
Pulling
really
up
no
to
way
games.
for them to even know who we were.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you would, like a lot of times you would have to get like that local, somebody had to know somebody. You know what I'm saying? So like,
of course.
I think Anthony Mason might have came to one of my high school games off one of his men seeing me play in the summertime somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But like it wasn't that connectivity like how it is now, where like guys is just more accessible. And,
right.
You know, it wasn't like that.
Okay. Now, that's cool, man. So you know, you were the 25th overall pick in the 1998 NBA draft.
Yeah.
Now that class, that was a crazy class. Let's see, we had Dirk Nowitzki, we had Vince Carter, Paul Pierce, Antoine Jamerson, Mike Bibby, Jason Williams. That's a tough class.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really tough class, man. And so, coming up in that class, for you to be the 25th overall pick in the NBA draft, man, what was the process of that? Of going through the draft, you know, your name getting called out, and what's the feeling of it, man? What's the process of that?
Yeah, bro, man, you gotta remember, man, like I always say, like I'm a dirty dude from Jersey, bro. So I didn't know what to expect. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, walking, like, number one, just saying I'm going to the NBA was just like my mom, number one, I needed her to sign a piece of paper to say that I was going to go, like for me to go. And she waited like until the day before to sign it, because she just kept saying, you too immature, you're too young, you about to go in the league with grown men, this, that. And I would tell her, like, Mom, at the end of the day, if I go to school for 1 year, it's to do the same thing. If they're gonna let me speed up the process and I'm gonna make money now, why would you, what is the value of the education? Is how I looked at it, and even at that age, you know what I'm saying? So she was just like, well, you got to promise you never go back to school, and I'll sign it. And that's why she ended up signing it. But that process was cool. It was like weird, you know, like this guy named Herb Brown, his brother's Larry Brown, that coached AI, Sixers or whatever. He was out of a job at that time, so this guy that I knew recommended him to be the guy to get me ready for the draft. So, my agent at the time got us a hotel, and, you know, we would just go to the gym twice a day. And he would just put me through what NBA workouts was going to be like. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's scripted. Like, you're going to do this first, that second, blah, 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 blah. And he just got me ready for the whole thing. Going through the process, and to your point of being drafted 25, for me, it was very disappointing. Because when I started my workouts, I worked out, I think the first workout I worked out for was Milwaukee. I didn't have a good workout, I was hella nervous. Then I went to Houston. The Houston workout was good, not great. The third one was Orlando, and at that time I had got my rhythm. Had an unbelievable workout, and they had me play pickup. I played pickup against Penny.
Okay, yeah.
I in my eyes, I wonder what Penny would say, but I feel like I got the best of him.
Yeah.
In the workout that day, to the point where I left from there, I went to Atlanta. I had food poisoning. So I did the Atlanta workout, and I remember the Hawks people were all upset, because I'm like, it felt like they thought I was faking. Like I was faking having food poisoning.
Yeah.
But whatever, that was a bad workout. But by the time I got done with that workout, the Magic had called my agent and said, yo, we want Al to come back. We want to see him one more time. Go back to Orlando, have another crazy killer workout. They said, yo, don't work out for nobody else. We're going to draft you one of our picks. They had 3 picks in the first round, them and Houston. It's funny, both teams, Orlando told me not to work out with nobody else, they was gonna pick me, and Houston Rockets told Rashard Lewis, who's from Houston, same thing, don't work out for nobody, we gonna pick you. Obviously the draft come, neither one of them picked neither one of us. You know what I'm saying? So the Hawks was the 20th pick, and that was the last team I worked out for. I didn't work out for no other teams.
Right.
Because they told me to stop.
Right.
So I'm literally, man, I'm sitting there at my draft party in South Orange, New Jersey at this lady restaurant called Nisi's Soul Food Restaurant. And we got my whole family there, and Tommy Emma, because he's the coach of Seton Hall. He's the only coach that came out of all the teams that was schools that was recruiting me. And literally, we're sitting there and we're talking like, damn, like what's the strategy in regards to how he's gonna help me get my eligibility back so I could go to college.
Right.
I'm thinking I'm not gonna get drafted. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And literally, sitting there, we talk. I go outside, I'm ready to throw up. I'm like, I cannot believe I fucked up. And my sister comes out, her name's Tiffany, and she grabs me and she's like, it's gonna be okay. She's a little girl. She's like, She was young, 6, 7 years old, young as hell. She come like touch me, like, you gonna be all right, it's gonna be okay. And right as she was saying that, I hear the room go crazy. Everybody going crazy. And then my mom ran out and she's like, you just got drafted to the Pacers. And I'm like, to the Pacers? Because remember, I'm a Knicks fan.
Right.
So I'm like, the Pacers. So I should be happy as hell, but I'm really so mad. 'Cause I'm like, why the hell would the Pacers pick me?
You just went on a crazy emotional roller coaster.
Bro, like,
yeah,
so it's crazy. So I'm like, the Pacers picked me. So that was my draft experience, bro. Like, that was it, man. Larry Bird and a guy named Donnie Walsh, they called my agent. I get on the phone with them, and they like, we're excited to have you. This is gonna be a fun ride. We're gonna develop you, the whole thing. And that was like my experience up to the point where I actually got drafted.
Yeah,
that's dope.
That's an amazing feeling. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
that's dope.
Having your name
emotional roller coaster.
That was definitely sound like to me you was ready to like, man, forget all. I don't even. He said, hey man.
I'm thinking like, I'm telling him, I'm like, the worst case, I'm just gonna play football in. You know what I'm saying?
Might as well go ahead and give it a try.
You was instantly when you went outside. I could kind of tell because that's kind of how I am. Like I get emotional when I see something about to go completely left. You instantly like, okay, so what I gotta do?
I gotta pivot.
And then that happened.
So I get drafted by the Pacers of all teams or whatever. But Pacers was dope, man. Like getting in the locker room with Reggie Miller and all of that. First, I ain't gonna lie, I did not like it. I hated Reggie.
He's a military. I would say military, Brian. He moved. His family was in the military, I think.
Reggie Miller?
Yeah.
Well, I know they're from Riverside, California. So
right.
I
think his father was in the military or something.
Maybe. But Reg, they welcome me with open arms, but they also like, you got to remember the game was changing a lot, right? Because for them, and you got to, it's tradition. Everything has tradition, right? And like the tradition of the game has always been, you play high school, you go to college, you get better, and then you become a pro. You don't go to high school and then come up here and play with us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and you skip some steps, so we're gonna make you earn your stripes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's what they did. But what they did, what I didn't realize they were doing was they was really just laying the foundation for the rest of my career.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is like they made it hard on me because they wanted to let me know like to be here is not easy. It's not easy. I'm easy to get there. You might get here, but it's hard as hell to stay here.
Right, because they have to get you mentally prepared.
Because you got to know like what it takes. You got to be first one to the gym.
Right.
You gotta be the last one to leave. You got to get extra shots. You got to take care of your body. Mm-hmm. You got to eat right. You got to all these different things. And the way they showed it to me, it was very like they were on my ass about a lot of shit to the point where I'm just like, damn, like let me live,
that,
bro.
right? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Why you like that?
At the same time, it gave me routine. You know what I'm saying? And I always say like, being able to play with those veteran guys, and even though during the time when I was going through it, it was very frustrating, they are definitely the reason why I played 16 years. It was because of what they taught me over like the first 2 or 3 years being under those guys, being under those, those veteran guys.
Especially playing under, I know Reggie Miller, I know that he had to help you get mentally prepared because he's a big trash talker.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
he talk trash all the time.
All the time, man. I remember watching I think it was the ESPN 30 for 30. It was a documentary on Reggie Miller versus the New York Knicks.
Right.
And you was a part of that, right?
Yeah. Well, we played them in the playoffs 2 years. The first year, we lost LJ. Didn't play. So that was my rookie year.
Okay.
And the second year, we beat them and went to the finals, where we lost to the Lakers when Kobe got his first one.
I got you.
Shaq got their first one with the Lakers.
Okay.
So we had to go through New York both times or whatever. So those playoff games, bro, I'll never forget like that when Larry Johnson, for the young guys I know what I'm talking about, Grandmama, look him up. When he hit that shot, that was the first time I ever been in a place where the whole building was shaking.
Yeah.
Like when they hit it and the fucking garden went so crazy, it felt like it was an earthquake. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that like I'll never forget in my career. That moment, how I felt, like the immediate amount of heat. I guess it was like everybody's breath at one time hitting the court. It was just the craziest moment. You know what I'm saying? One of the craziest moments I had ever experienced in sports, and that shit was crazy.
Do you think that was your your best moment too as well? Out of your 16?
It was a fucked up moment for us. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember I played for the Pacers, so it was to beat us. So it was one of the most heartbreaking. You know what I'm saying? Because I would say that team, why it was so frustrating, because that year it was a lockout. So when I was drafted as a rookie, it was a lockout year. It was the longest lockout in the history of the NBA.
Yeah, that was during the lockout time.
So we didn't start playing again until February. And then from February to April, we played 50 games. So it was like triple. We played 3 games in a row, kind of shit. But I'm saying that team, they were so focused and wanted to win because they had just lost to Michael the year before, whatever.
Right.
And with Michael being gone, they felt like it was their time.
Yeah.
That we trained the whole time like there was a training camp. So everybody reported to Indianapolis around October, except for like 2 guys. I'm gonna say their names, but everybody was there the whole time until we started in February. Nobody never left. You know what I'm saying? So we was so focused. They were dedicated. Everybody to lose to LJ, to the Knicks like that. Was definitely a heartbreak or whatever. But that, once again, all these things are life lessons. It just lets you know, like, there's no guarantees in anything.
Yeah, most definitely. So what would you say your best moment in the NBA was out of your 16-year career in the NBA? What was your favorite thing about the NBA? Yeah.
You know, the mountaintop, I think for best moments, it always got to be around, like, you know, win the championship. You know what I'm saying? But I think about just like in a playoff series, I would say is the We Believe Warriors. You know what I'm saying? When we beat Dallas. You know what I'm saying? The first time an 8 seed beat the 1 seed. And whatever, Dallas had the best record that year. Like, they was poised to win a championship.
Right.
And for us to knock them off was definitely something that, like, obviously sticks out to me, and, you know, one that, you know, can't wait to show my grandkids.
Yeah.
That tape, you know what I'm saying? How we got down.
All right, man. That's what's up, man. Seems like Actually, I'm really just throwing off. I love hearing the background of stories, just because you just said the internet kind of overshadows we can go look it up and we can go do this, but we don't hear the build up and the in between, anybody's career, etc. So, but out of your 16 career, we moved past that, right? Where are we at right now? What is Al doing right now? So we got this new thing. What's going on? Tell us about it.
Yeah, man. Like, so obviously, now I'm an entrepreneur, right? Obviously, my biggest business now is in the cannabis space.
Okay.
We are an 11-year-old company. Just still being here 11 years later, after as much as the industry changes and evolves and stuff like that, is a miracle.
Okay.
We say, like, you know, I'm God's child for sure. Because he's got me through a lot of times. I'm like, oh, we're done. The business is over. We're about to shut down the doors, and here comes God. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a firm believer that I'm highly favored. And, you know, I started this pretty much 11 years ago because of my grandmother. My grandmother was 79 years old. She came to see me play while I was playing in Denver. Okay. I had, you know, one, convincing her just to come see me was just a miracle because she old school. Like, she likes to either drive, take the train, or the bus. But getting from Fayetteville, North Carolina to Denver was going to be a tough feat. So I was just like, Grandma, why don't you fly to see me? She's like, if you fly somebody with me, I'll come. Flew my aunt with her. So she gets to the house, take her bags downstairs. She had me bring her bag back up. And as I'm bringing up, I can hear her shaking. It's a pill bag. So I put the bag up on the counter. She comes upstairs 20 minutes later. She goes zipping the bag open, and she just starts taking medication. So, of course, nosy, I'm like, Grandma, why are you taking so much medication? Like, what's going on? And she gives me a list of things. She's like, I got high blood pressure, I got diabetes, I got glaucoma. So when she said glaucoma, I stopped her, and I was like, Grandma, you know that cannabis cures glaucoma? And she was like, what? So I was like, yeah, I was just reading an article about like how people that use cannabis, you know, that it cures them, like they get their eyesight back and all that. And I'm like, I'm not lying, obviously. Well, I did read it, but I'm not really informed and educated. I'm just telling kind of, high level what I read. And, you know, she was like, well, what is cannabis? And I was like, it's marijuana, weed. She's like, reefer? She's like, boy, you out your mind. I ain't smoking no reefer. She's like, reefer ain't gonna do nothing but make me hungry, right? So I'm like, whatever, Grandma. So she say no. So literally next day I come home from shoot around, and she's sitting in the kitchen, and she looks like squinting as I'm walking the door, and I'm like, what's up, Grandma? How you feeling today? She's like, my eyes hurt so bad today I can barely see. So I was like, I was like, well, why don't you try the cannabis? I'm like, Grandma, we in a legal market. It could be our secret. I'm whispering in the house. I ain't gonna tell nobody. So she like, I'm in so much pain today, I'll try anything. So I called my boy, go to the dispensary, bring back a strain called Vietnam Kush. We put in a volcano bag of all things. Take her in the garage, she starts smoking, and hit it 3 or 4 times. And I look at her, I see her eyes getting a little glassy. So I'm like, all right, Grandma, that's probably enough, or whatever. So I take her downstairs, I go take my nap, hour and a half later. I wake up, great, jump in the shower, and I thought about the first time I smoked weed. So the first time I ever smoked weed, I smoked it with Steven Jackson, Matt Barnes, and Baron Davis.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So we're in Phoenix, smoking. I remember how paranoid I was. I was like, oh hell no, I'll never smoke weed again. I don't know why these people smoke weed. Like they bugging. You know what I'm saying? So now I got her trying, so let me go check on her. So I go downstairs, knock on the door, I don't hear nothing. So I knock again, I just open the door. When I open the door, she's sitting at the end of the bed, but she's looking down. So I'm like, Grandma, you all right? And she turned around, bro, and she's crying tears. She's like, I'm healed. You know, I haven't been able to read the words of my Bible in over 3 years. So I'm like, you serious? So I come in, and she's like bawling, crying. So I hug her, and she started making me cry. I call my mother, and she's like telling my mother, like, everything is so bright. God gave me my sight back, all these different things. And I went to the game that night, and as I was driving there, the shit was just like surreal. Like I was like, oh shit, like weed is really medicine.
Real.
Like what the fuck? And when I got in the locker room, Chauncey was still there. He was on my team. So Chauncey in the locker room, and I told him what happened. And I was just like, telling him what happened and shit. And he was just like blown away as well. And, you know, I just started to educate myself. And, you know, long story short, the next season, I was comfortable enough where I felt like I wanted to make an investment. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then I bought my first building that I, you know, still own. It's a 12,000 square foot building right in the heart of Denver. And, you know, we started as caregivers. So a caregiver pretty much is like you're tasked to, you get, patients will pretty much do a contract with you to grow medicine specifically for them.
Right.
So all of our patients either had HIV or cancer. You know what I'm saying? So we were growing pretty much like heavy indica strains and different things like that to help them manage and cope. So they got appetites, you know, pain relief, all those things across the board. And bro, that's how we started, man. And next thing you know, 2 years later, you know, caregiver model was dying. You need to get a license. We applied for our first license. We got it. And we decided to name the company Viola, which is my grandmother's name.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how we got the name. And I will say, man, like, you know, obviously now it's so easy to talk about it. Everybody's involved. Everybody's investing. But 11 years ago, bro, it was not like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, number one, I was doing it while I was still playing. I played another 2 seasons before I retired. You know what I'm saying? My financial advisor, who had been with me my whole career, dropped me as a client because he was like, he was not gonna go to jail for helping me launder money. Was his exact words.
Right.
Wow. But he was an older white man that didn't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like reefer madness was real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like people still scared of cannabis, even as popular as it is and whatever. I still have people that's like, oh, people around. You know what I'm saying? It's still like that. You know, stigma's still there. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, for me, bro, it was a journey, man, and a lot of ups and downs, a lot of people trying to send me off, a lot of people looking at me as a athlete with a lot of money, so we're gonna charge him $200,000 to consult and shit like that, which I didn't do. You know what I'm saying? Man, I was always had the wherewithal, like, well, I'd rather try and do it myself. You know what I'm saying? And I'm happy a lot of those things I did do myself because it really just made me more well-rounded as an investor.
You got to do it like that too. I mean, you have to do it yourself sometimes in order to learn, especially on a business aspect too. You know what I'm saying? You learn a lot when you start doing things on your own. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to, bro.
You have to.
And especially when it's your business, your money.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I always say, as they say, no one's going to value your stuff the way that you do.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So when you think about it from that perspective, you know, like you kind of got to stay on point and, you know, always kind of be looking out for your own best interests. You know what I'm saying? No matter what the situation is. And, you know, I will say that, like, for me, I think that the reason why, you know, 11 years later, you know, just over $30 million raise compared to like my competition that have raised hundreds of millions of dollars and they're nowhere around. I think it just comes from like, I think about my basketball career, and I think about the mindset that I had, because one of the things, sorry, I didn't tell you was like, even though I was in awe of the moment of playing the NBA, I'll still never forget like when I first went in the locker room, and I was looking around at Jalen and all those guys. The first thing I thought was that I was better than them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I had that ultimate confidence, and I say that to say is like, once I got in and once I started playing the game, I realized that like, you know, every year you got a new Al Harrington coming in, trying to take your minutes, trying to take your spot, trying to get the next contract. You know what I'm saying? So you have to constantly be reinventing yourself. You can't never get too comfortable, because when you get comfortable, somebody's definitely gonna pass you by. And for me in the cannabis space, that's always been my thing. Like, as much as we've done in 11 years, like there's a lot of times where like my team always saying like, bro, sometimes you gotta like sit back and like pat yourself on the back, bro. Like you've done the impossible. You know what I'm saying?
You survived it in the beginning. In the beginning, when it wasn't.
Yeah, like you've done the impossible. Like so, feel like
still here.
Enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
it's like for me, it's like nah, bro, because I know it's another Al Harrington coming into the weed space.
Some way, somehow. Huh?
You know what I'm saying? And they want my spot. They see all that I've learned.
Right.
All I've done.
I'm not done yet. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes you think you're never done, because
Right.
it's like it's a constant fight. You know what I'm saying? Like you always got to keep getting better. You know
And
what
that's
I'm saying?
okay. It's supposed to be like that.
It's supposed to be, and that's how I was with the game. And
That's
I
the
always say,
mindset. That's the mindset.
My summers, the way I went into every summer, I was going into a contract year. Every year, I'm going like, because that's how most of the game is played. Like most guys get the contract 3-4 years, they cruise to 3 years, and that last year you see him like, oh damn, this guy's focused, he locked in.
Right.
For me, I was like that every summer, bro. Like I would always take a week to 2 weeks off, and I'll be right back in the gym. So I try to bring that same work ethic and that same mindset to the cannabis space. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta keep working. I gotta keep getting better. I gotta keep reinventing myself. I gotta be innovative. You know what I'm saying? I gotta continue to separate myself out here. So like our new thing is we're about to launch this thing called Viola Vibes. You know, the Viola Vibes system, right? Where we're gonna now, you know, curate products for people to feel certain kind of ways. You know what I'm saying? So like we'll have like the way it's set up is one is called Get Up and Go. One is called Good Times. One is called Kickback. Another one's called Light Side. You know what I'm saying? So it addresses every part of the plant or every effect or vibe that you want to feel, and we'll have products specifically for you to smoke to get that.
That's amazing.
You have your own strain?
So we're working on our own genetics and strains, but there will be certain strains and characteristics within the genetics that we will attach to that feeling or to that vibe.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So super excited about it, but that's like I said, it's like, okay, in the industry we all fighting, what's next?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How you gonna separate yourself?
Right.
How you gonna talk? How you gonna communicate better with the customer?
Most
You know what I'm saying?
definitely.
'Cause that's in the day, that's what we're doing. We're in the service business. We're a consumers packaged good company. We gotta continue to make people feel like they want to be a part of what we're doing.
Most definitely. And as far as like locations,
That was my next question.
Go ahead.
What is every location that you have for Viola right now?
So right now, we operate in 3 states where we actually grow, manufacture, and distribute. And those states is Colorado, Oregon, and Michigan. We have white label partnerships. So what that means is, you know, we have people that source product for us, that we source product from. Or if we can find people that we can do real partnerships with, we'll provide them with certain genetics for them to grow for us. You know what I'm saying? So, so those are the 3 states. We're doing licensing deals in now. California, we'll be in Maryland, Missouri, and what's my 4th state? In Oklahoma.
So you are expanding.
Yeah, we're expanding quickly. I mean, we're international now. We're in Canada. We should be in Jamaica by the end of this year. We're just trying to continue to just expand the brand. You know, we have a strategic partnership with a company called GTI, which we're going to be bringing our products to Maryland, Illinois, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, and Nevada through that partnership. You know what I'm saying? So our goal is to, by the end of this year, be in, at least 10 states.
Okay. And you'll get there.
No, we're going to get there.
You're going to get there, you know what I'm saying? You're going to get there for sure.
So one of those licensed states that you named is Missouri. I kind of want to touch a little bit based on that, if that's because our brand, HipHopNow TV, is based out of Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri, to be exact.
Right.
So is that St. Louis dispensary situation? Is that the same location we speaking of as well? Or?
Yes. So we have 2 locations. Forgive me for not knowing but the exact areas, but one is directly across the street from the new MLS stadium that's being built in the police station.
Yes.
So we got the police station on this corner, we on this corner, the MLS is on that corner. So we feel really good about that store just because all the traffic and energy, and as they obviously gentrifying that area and building it up. And then our other dispensary is in the most highly dense community in St. Louis. It's an old bank or whatever that we took over and we're building as a dispensary.
Wow.
So, I think it's almost done. You can check with Abe on that. But, right now, currently, we're about to start building out our cultivation in that state too. So, probably first quarter, second quarter next year, we'll be providing all of our own product, through our stores without having to do any of these partnerships.
Okay, well, that's crazy. And congratulations with that.
Thanks,
all right. But what is that process like in, because I know you got California, no problems. I'm pretty sure Denver, no problems. But now coming to Missouri, what was that process like, trying to get all of that,
Yeah, man. I mean, it's difficult, but it's not that difficult when you have experience doing it. If that makes sense. I think if it's your very first time, it could be very, very overwhelming. But we've been able to build a solid team through another company that I own, and it's a sister company to Viola called Village. So me and my co-founder that started Viola, we started Village. We have an unbelievable partner, app writer named Jamil Taylor, who is, he's pretty much our secret sauce. You know what I'm saying? He's the one that actually writes a lot of the applications for us or whatever. And, his track record of winning is second to none. I put him up against any firm, person, whatever. We talk about winning, highly competitive.
So his pitch game is impeccable.
Not about his pitches, his right game. Because, a lot of these applications, man, it depends on what state, but I've seen like the Illinois market, that market, somebody that turned in an application turned in 5 filing boxes for the app. Then, I've seen some as being about that size, you know what I'm saying? So it just depends on what boxes you have to check in regards to being compliant to even receive that license or whatever.
Gotcha.
But, I just feel like the team that we've been able to build, we're willing to compete with anybody when it comes to that at this point.
Gotcha.
That's good. And so Viola, we can go to your website.
Yep. So you got violabrands.com. Village will be villagebrands.com as well. Their website is still being built. But yeah, my social is just at Viola.
At Viola, okay.
Viola.
Y'all make sure to follow that, man.
Yeah, follow us, please, man. Support
at
us.
Viola.
Yeah. It's a lot of love. We spread a lot of love on our pages, and we appreciate the love back. And then obviously my personal page, which will hopefully be up very soon.
Let's hope so, man.
It's Al Harrington 3, and my Twitter is Viola Hefe. So right now, I got Twitter fingers.
So yeah, on Twitter now.
Okay.
they boosty my boy. They took him down.
Yeah, most definitely.
They took him down.
And I don't even post for real, which sucks, but it is what it is.
Gotcha. So now, with everything out on the table, in the next, I always like to ask this question because being an entrepreneur and managing money, once you get to the mindset, okay, it's not about the right now. We focus on the next 5 years. What are we doing? What is next for you and all the different businesses that you have for the next 5 years? Any great plans coming up?
Yeah, bro. Like to your point, man. Obviously I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm just I'm really driven by just new opportunities and doing new things, right? So obviously on the Viola side, man, my goal is to make this a household brand. You know what I'm saying? For our people. I always, as Abe said, came up with, we call it with cannabis for the culture. You know what I'm saying? So we want to own that. You know what I'm saying? And when we think about, what has happened historically to us and our people, especially, the way that cannabis was used to pretty much destroy our communities. You know what I'm saying? 85% of all drug arrests in black communities have been cannabis related. And when you think about the fact that we don't own any farms, we don't own any trucking companies, how the hell did this product get from Florida, California into our neighborhoods,
right,
and they locking us up for it? You know what I'm saying? And then you look at a place like New York, once they decriminalize, 90% of drug arrests is down in New York City because cannabis is decriminalized. So it just
Right.
shows you like how many people have been being locked up because of a cannabis plant. So what I'm trying to do is change that narrative, man, and try to bring as many people of color, to the table from an ownership standpoint, so that we can now benefit, you know what I'm saying, from this obviously unbelievable budding industry. And I do a lot of things. I have the Harrington Institute, which is my my school, where I try to teach young entrepreneurs pretty much all the basics, in the cannabis space, basic opportunities and how to take advantage of it. I have another company, I have Viola Kids that we do a partnership with a company called Root Rebound, where we help with expungements and reentry. A lot of people think that, it's like, oh, let's let everybody go, but when you let them go with no plan, where they gonna go? Right back to the same place.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So we try to, do what we can from that perspective of trying to give people these toolkits where, it gives them like a roadmap of like when they do get home, what options are out there and available to them before they go and make another bad decision and end up right back in the same fucked up ass place.
So you're really into the community, really involved into the community.
Everything is community. Cannabis is. I honestly feel like cannabis can heal the world, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I really think that, if the Russian president and whatever could sit down in the room and smoke a joint and open up their minds to have a conversation, I think they can come to a compromise, or they could talk it through. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's how much I believe in the plant. You know what I'm saying? From a community building standpoint.
Right.
Then you think about the medicinal side. We have so many stories of people that it's actually healed. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just feel like this is probably the most magnificent, dynamic plant in the world. And, I want to continue, as long as I have breath in my lungs, to continue to scream from the mountaintops about how great it is, you know what I'm saying? But also while doing that, still being able to be a part of creating opportunities and make sure that the industry as a whole is diverse enough for us, our people, to benefit. Because, this is, I think I just read some other data, they're now saying that cannabis by 2027 is going to be a $90 billion industry.
Yeah.
And, right now, black people own less than 4% of the industry. And, that's just not enough. You know what I'm saying? We need a significant number so that we can now go back and rebuild our community.
For sure.
And I think that's where a lot of the social equity initiatives and things are there, but a lot of those intentions aren't being met because a lot of the challenges around the industry, right? Which
Most
is
definitely.
banking, right?
Yes.
You can't get access to capital. I would say no problem. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, it's a lot that needs to be done. So when you think about a 5-year plan, man, it's a lot of moving pieces. But, one Viola to be there, I want to be able to say that I've created 100 millionaires.
Yep.
I also have, a media company, so Harrington Media, that, I'll be launching in the next couple of months as well. You know what I'm saying? Which I think that, once again, want to control the narrative. You know what I'm saying?
Most
like
definitely.
to your point where you think about, a lot of times people only see the results, the end results. They don't see the journey. You know what I'm saying? And I always say, like, right now, the way that the world is set up, right? ESPN is only interested in showing what LeBron James is doing, or D Wade. But there's a lot of dudes out here that play sports that, I'm not gonna say they're as successful off the court as LeBron and all them, but damn close. You know what I'm saying? But nobody's no outlet for them to tell their stories. You know what I'm saying? Those are the things that I want to do. Because to your point, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're all inspirational. You know what I'm saying? And it's all different things. And I've learned that, especially being in the cannabis industry, it's amazing like how I go to some of these things and you'll see like a black market brand and the CEO be there and like somebody comes to meet them and it's like, I tried your brand, I somehow saw your story, heard about it, and it propelled me to do this.
Right.
You understand
Exactly.
what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
we're all inspirational. You know what I'm
Most
saying?
definitely.
So I want to be able to, with my media company, be able to, allow it to be like a microphone for the people that normally don't have a voice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I just feel like people are more apt to, if you can relate to a guy that really came from your community, like in your building, went to your school, went through that whole thing, and look at where you are, like damn, I can do that.
Right.
He just did it.
Most definitely.
I definitely can do it.
Literally just did it from where I'm from. So I want to tell those stories. You know what I'm saying? So, But the cannabis, obviously, right now is my focus, and we want to continue to get into these new states, continue to create strategic partnerships with other entrepreneurs to be able to, level them up, and hopefully, like I said, be able to create these 100 millionaires, but make sure that people of color, specifically Black people, have a seat at the table in the industry that I feel
dope.
like was founded on our backs.
That's
negative
Very dope.
standpoint.
Very dope. Yeah, y'all make sure to go to the website, check it out.
Yep.
Viola Brand.
Yep, Viola Brands with an S, violabrands.com.
Yep.
And then harringtonmedia.com will be up soon.
He's not on the gram right now,
Boosie,
But he will be back.
but he's definitely on Twitter.
Yep.
He will be
Viola
back.
Jefe, VIOLAJEFE, and my page will be back up soon. And then follow Viola until then.
Most definitely, man. Al Harrington, we appreciate your time, boss.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, boys.
You know what I'm
Appreciate
saying,
it.
man? Keep doing what you're doing, boss. You doing everything right.
Thanks, man.
What it sounds like you're doing everything right.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And we want to thank you, and shout out to my boy Abe. Thank you, Abe, for definitely setting this up. And thank you we appreciate your time. Appreciate everything you've done for the culture in general.
Yeah.
And for young men like myself, other young men, and future young men. We want to just say thank you on the behalf
For the motivation too.
No doubt.
on the
for the
behalf of
motivation.
Hip Hop Now. We out. We done.
Most definitely, man.
Wrap.
We finna go catch some hoops real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got the court.
Yeah, we got the court downstairs. We go downstairs and ball. You know what I'm saying? We out.